Morning, everybody. Everybody's well. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. For those that are here live, for those here any day of the week, thanks so much for being here. Anyway you listen, we appreciate you listening. It is so great to be with you. It is so great to be at a Friday. TGIF, but TGIM too. But there's a certain specialness to the weekend, to Friday, to the introspection that's available. We've been talking about this idea of energy, forcing the energy, not knowing who we are, and respecting the fact that we don't know who we are. And as God would have it, last night on the Shabbat show, we did a show on addiction. And as the show sort of like continued on, I started to remember different conversations that I've had over the past few years with different individuals who are on the road or have recovered from addiction. And as I was listening to the different guests who were phenomenal, if you haven't had a chance, you got to see the show, ShabbatShow.com. I mean, these guests were off the charts. Really. It's heroes. They were explaining the process. They were explaining the challenges of those that are suffering from addiction. And they were explaining the journey that one takes to come back. And there are different versions of it. We had a guest on, his name is Menachem Poznansky. He spoke about it in very specific ways, about the spirituality of it. You have to go into a deeper place. We had Dr. Kiva Perlman also did very much like that as well. Great. I mean, these guys are awesome. Spend their whole lives. These people dedicate their whole lives to other people. And everyone was great. Check out the show. It was great. And I started to become aware as they were talking that a lot of what the people that are suffering from addictions do or have to do is what we're talking about on the show. What we're talking about now, where we're up to, is this concept that in order for me to accomplish what I need to accomplish in this world, I have to change my lens from I know because I am living it, because my brain has experienced it, because I have something to use as an analogy for it, because I can feel it and touch it, to I don't know, because who I am is so much deeper than even I know. And when we were going through the journey back, as I was listening to the song this morning, on coming home, it's very much the journey of someone suffering from an addiction. Many times it's not even intentional. It's trying to fill something that hasn't been filled in other areas. It's individuals sometimes that get hooked on something. I was talking to one of the professionals. Her name is Miriam. She's on the show. She's talking about sometimes a woman during the pregnancy process, as a C-section, whatever it is, and gets prescribed medication, and then she just gets addicted to that. This happens a lot of times with athletes. They get injured, and they get addiction. They get addicted to their medication. Sometimes it happens with people that have a challenging period of time in childhood, and they turn to things to fill up something that's missing, and they get addicted to that. And it can range from very hard drugs to food to other behaviors. And so you've got individuals that are, for whatever reason now, physically addicted to something. That means their brain is neurologically connected to the substance, to the point in which that's all they can think about. And this wonderful woman was talking about how there are mothers that are addicted, and that she works with specifically with females. And she looks at everybody, but we were talking about the female demographic, how they're mothers who are so addicted to whatever they're addicted to that even when they're hugging their children, they're thinking about, when am I getting the next? You're so addicted to something that your brain is neurologically programmed to need that thing. And if you know somebody suffering from addiction, by the way, there's always help. You'll notice, or that it is a constant psychological battle, because their brains have oriented around this benefit they got from the substance. And at some point, the brain and all of its neuroplasticity is attaching itself to some foreign substance in order to fulfill something that they are addicted to. So understand that there are people that are neurologically addicted to a substance and have to figure out how to get to a place that's even deeper than their brains. They have to reach to a place in themselves that is deeper than the connections that were formed, because they have to find strength. And they have to find energy and power in places deeper than they've ever gone before. That's the road back. The road turns once they realize that there's something deeper inside them than even they thought. And you're right, and like Daniel just mentioned, if you look at the 12 steps, it's filled with spirituality. Even the steps as they say it, acceptance and honesty and service, these are all spiritual concepts. They have when they say the prayer, the serenity prayer, it's a spiritual thing. It's because the road to recovery is when you are super physical. And it dawned on me that, there's a lot of people living in our midst that have recovered. They're real heroes. They don't give themselves any credit because they were in a negative place and now they're back in a regular place. We don't even know many of them exist because we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And now they look like they're normal, but they always look like they were normal. Every once in a while you may hear a terrible story, but there's a lot of people suffering from addictions that nobody knows about. Now forget the pain they cause everybody else. I'm just talking about them. They're heroes. They're heroes. They're heroes. They are. They don't know them. Nobody knows them. And they themselves don't even know it. They think now they're back to being regular. But you don't come back to be regular when you go to a deeper place and you overcome challenges like this. Of course, their families and everyone around them are heroes for just what they've done and how they've, of course, the support for sure. But I want to talk about them because these individuals that have made the turn, they don't know how powerful they are. They don't know how special they are. They're heroes. And we need to learn from them because we need to understand that when we go to a deeper place, that when we look at our minds, whether we are clinically addicted or not, and between me and you, we're all addicted to our behaviors. We're all addicted to our habits. We all have that connections. Andy points out, and he's right. We're all addicted to our phones. It gives us the dopamine that we need every time we get the hit. People that are addicted to social media, like literally, I see people in the park with their little kids, and they're just like this. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, really unbelievable. Forget the teenagers. I'm talking about like parents who are like Instagram. Like, it's unreal. They got little kids playing around, and the kid's not even like, the kid's like, hello, totally addicted. I mean, whether it's clinically addicted, not addicted, who knows? We're all addicted to our fears and insecurities. We've already told ourselves what we can't do. We've bought into this narrative of who we are, who we're not. And when we can like go to a deeper place, which is what exactly we're talking about here, we can go to a deeper place. And if you needed proof, look at the world of recovery. If you need proof of what it's like to go to a deeper place, just think about that person who's addicted to an incredibly powerful substance that has a grip on his life or her life. And at some point, they look themselves in the mirror and say, I'm bigger than this. And they crawl and claw and clamor and open up and break down and embrace and go to the place that they didn't know they had and force the energy out and force out of their bodies this unending resource of spiritual power that enables them to gain strength to overcome their own brains. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal. Really. Really. It's phenomenal. And by the way, if you know people that have recovered, you'll see they're different people. Talk to them. Talk to someone who's recovered from an addiction. They're different. They speak differently. They just see the world differently. They have it like a whole different perspective on life. It's because they went to the well. And when you go to the well, you live differently. You accept things that other people don't accept. You give in ways that other people don't give. You are honest because you don't got to show off, because you know how to get to your well. Once we go internal and become inner people and how to get to that point inside us that is so filled with all the right stuff, we don't need other people to tell us that we're good. We know who we are. We know what we can accomplish. I don't need you to pat me on the back. I think I need you to tell me who I am. Do you know who I am? I'm a piece of God. What are you going to tell me? That I got an A in some class and you're going to give me a little certificate for that? It's nice. Come on. I'm a piece of God. We're going to give me an honor because I helped the community? For real? Do you know what? I'm a piece of God. I'm a soul. And I can bask in the joy of that reality without needing you to make me feel like I'm valued. When we start doing this regularly, why do we need to be suffering to have to go to the well? Why do we need to be in a situation where we say enough to go in and find deeper power? Why can't we just do it every single day in a regular day? Why can't we just be people that wake up in the morning and say, how am I going to push myself and force out the energy so that my regular life becomes incredible? Why do we have to be forced to come back? We don't. We just got to make the decision. We just got to make the decision. And if you ever need proof, you just got to look at someone who recovered from an addiction and say, look at what they're doing. Look at who they are. Look at how incredible this is. Imagine if I brought that strength into my life. Imagine if I could recover, if you will, from whatever I'm going through. Imagine if I could tap into something that is so much greater than me for the everyday of my life. Imagine if I can go to the place that they went to, because they had to go that place. But they went there. Not one of them, hundreds of them, thousands of them. They went there at the risk of everything. They went there being on the bottom. They went there with the shame. They went there, and what they got for it was they came back to what they think is normal, even though it's not, but they think it's normal. They went there and went up against a substance that is genetically created to be addictive. Against a drug, whether it's illicit or it's prescribed, that has properties that overwhelm one's mind. And they went up against that. And they won. It's incredible. There are people sitting around all day programming our phones to get us to keep on looking, and they went up against that thing. There are people mixing chemicals to get you to not ever live without the thing they're putting into your system. There's behaviors that people step into that gave them a feeling of satisfaction that they never had growing up. There are people that are suffering some significant issues growing up. And they filled the gap with a substance that was genetically created, that was chemically induced to addict them. And through all of that, with the world making them feel ashamed, hiding in many times in secret, staring at their loved ones and seeing the pain in their eyes, which only breaks them further. In some cases, causing so much havoc that their own family shuts the door in their face. Nowhere to go to rebuild a whole life. And yet they're able to dig into a place and find some power and chart a course back home. It's powerful. These people are heroes. And they teach us something. They teach us that we all have it in us. Every one of us has this power source that could change our lives. And all we got to do is force it. Raise the standard. Act as if. Change what we consider to be the baseline of our life. I'm no longer going to do that. I'm no longer going to take this for granted. I'm no longer going to go to my job like this, go to my wife like this, go to my kids like this, go to my friends like this. I'm going to raise the standard in my life. I'm just going to do it. I don't got to hear about it anymore. I'm just going to do it. 10 minutes in front of me, I'm pulling the standard up. I'll find the energy. I walk into my house, I'm pulling that standard up. From doing it. Am I going to die from exhaustion? Probably not. Walking into a religious experience, I don't got to be bored. Pull the standard up. Search for God. We got to make a decision to take our lives that seriously. Pull the standard up. That's my homework for you for the weekend, or for whatever you're listening to this. And for me too. We'll do it together. Bli neder. Take one thing that you're doing and pull it up. Just pull the standard up. Walk into a situation and go, I'm going to be bigger, be better, work harder, be kinder, be more patient, make that phone call up. And I'm just going to force the energy out. I'm going to find my well. I'm going to live with my well. And if I ever need to figure out how, I'm going to look for someone who recovered from an addiction and look them in the eye and say, thank you for being a hero. And they go, what are you talking about? And I go, forget it. Speak to Charlie. All right, everybody. Have an amazing weekend. Pull the standard up. Let's go find our wells. Let's go live great lives. Thanks so much for being here this week. There's a lot going on next week. We're getting into the world of Lag BaOmer, which we'll talk about. May we live lives that are always pulling our standards up, living with the power that we have. Have a great weekend. Shabbat Shalom. And I can't wait with God's help to see you next week.